Hey guys, what is up? So, today we are going to be looking at the atmosphere. Super fun stuff, guys. So, in order to do that, we are using this lovely little Google extension here. So, if you see that in every video, ignore it. It is simply the way that Miss Fox is making these videos. Okay, so let's get right into the atmosphere. So, what is the atmosphere, guys? It's basically how we're able to live on Earth. It is an envelope of gases that surrounds the Earth and makes it to where we can live in it. Okay? So, has lots of gases, particles, solids, liquids, all of this come together to make up what we know as the atmosphere. So, the composition. Now, big three, as I like to call them, nitrogen, oxygen, and other gases. Make sure that you pay close attention to that. That is going to be something that you're going to see a lot. 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, 1% all other gases. Now, the reason that those percentages vary, it varies according to the layers that you're in, and we're going to get into that a little later. So, nitrogen. This is the most abundant gas in the atmosphere. Makes up 3/4 of the air that we breathe. Notice that it says that each nitrogen molecule only occurs in twos. So you'll never find just a nitrogen molecule floating by itself. It always has to have a partner, right? So that's the same thing with a lot of gases that we're going to look at. Even though it says a singular, it always occurs in pairs. All right. So same thing with oxygen. Two oxygen atoms come together, and they always occur in twos. It only makes up about 1/4 of the air that we breathe. So we're going to look at that more when we talk about respiration. How you always are told that oxygen is what you need to live and what you need to survive, but it only makes up about 1/4 of the air that we breathe. So we're going to talk about a little later how we are able to take in all of this air, but only 21% of it is actually oxygen. Carbon dioxide. So this is carbon with 2 oxygens, hence the name dioxide there. That di stands for 2. So each carbon dioxide contains 1 atom of carbon and 2 atoms of oxygen. It's essential to life. Plants must have CO2 in order to make food. So I'm sure you've heard of people like talking to the plants and things like that. And at first it might look kind of wonky, but the reason is because when you exhale, you give off CO2. Therefore, since plants need CO2, by talking to them, you're giving them a little bit of extra CO2. So it does give them that extra concentrated CO2 that can aid in their production of food. Water vapor. Water vapor, again, this is something that you're going to see a lot. It's everywhere. It's around you. It's invisible. It is water in the form of a gas. Solid particles. This is what's also in the air that you breathe, although we don't necessarily see it. And when we think of solids, we think of something that we can see with the naked eye. If you pay close enough attention to it, you can see some of the bigger solid particles. But the air that we breathe does contain a lot of other things other than simply gas. So the layers of the atmosphere. Now, it's divided into 4 main layers, and then the last layer is divided into 2 layers. So troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere. And the way that you tell the difference between the layers has to do with not only their location, but the change in temperature. That's how they originally got their separation to begin with. So troposphere, this is where we live, guys. This is important. This is where we live. This is where our weather happens at. As altitude increases, temperature decreases, goes from Earth's surface to approximately 10 kilometers above Earth's surface. Now, for a visual, this is, let's say, Earth's surface. Troposphere is the very tiniest layer, right? This is where the weather happens. Generally speaking, if you look at the scale drawing here, we have a plane. Generally speaking, they are somewhere along the troposphere. Sometimes they can extend a little further, but generally they're flying at the top of the troposphere. Stratosphere extends from the top of the troposphere to about 50 kilometers above Earth's atmosphere, or excuse me, Earth's surface, contains the ozone layer. God, that word is in purple. Ozone. It's a form of oxygen that has 3 oxygen atoms in every molecule instead of the usual 2. Now, it protects us from the sun's harmful UV rays. And we're going to talk about it a little later, but you've heard about people talking about the ozone layer and how it's being depleted and what we can do to fix it. We're going to address that more in class, but that word is in purple. Purple means it's important, so make sure you pay attention. All right, next one here. Again, we got another diagram drawing. Stratosphere goes from the top of the troposphere all the way to 50 kilometers above Earth's surface. Mesosphere. Now, mesosphere, think of mesosphere and middle. It's the middle of the layers, protects Earth from meteoroids as altitude increases, temperature decreases. Important layer here, right? So mesosphere again, and then here the scale drawing, you can see kind of like the comets or the meteoroids going through this layer, and once they hit this layer, they generally start to disintegrate. So very important layer. Now thermosphere. This is the biggest layer of them all, and it's divided into 2 parts. Thermo, of course, means hot, right? So it extends from 80 kilometers into outer space, divided into 2 layers, ionosphere, exosphere. Now, let's get into what those actually mean. Ionosphere, this is the lowest layer next to the mesosphere of the thermosphere, extends from 80 kilometers above the surface of Earth to 400 kilometers. This layer contains what's called the aurora borealis, okay, or northern lights. This is a beautiful light show that you can see. You can see part of it in America, depending on where you're located at, but it's really far north. That's where you can see it the best. It's beautiful. We'll watch a video about it in class to further explain it. Radio waves and light bounces off of these particles. That's what makes it so that you can see this beautiful green and blue light show that occurs. And so the ionosphere is here, and then this is where we have that beautiful light show. And the exosphere, this is the outer portion. This is from the top of the ionosphere into infinite outer space. This is where your phone calls and television pictures are relayed by communication satellites that orbit Earth. Now, this is important because all of us like to use our cell phones. All of us like to watch TV, right? So this is where that information is relayed because of the satellites that orbit here. All right, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed this lesson, that you have gleaned knowledge from it. What we will do is we will discuss it more in class. Make sure you get these notes done, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a great evening. Talk to you later. Bye.